Hey everyone, nice to see you. I'm Art Levy, the Chief Business Officer at Brex, and I wanted to welcome everyone to this Brex Navan webinar, where we'll be discussing BrexPay for Navan, the best-in-class travel and payment solution for the enterprise. Next slide. Just to briefly introduce ourselves, I'm Art. As I said, I'm the Chief Business Officer at Brex, which is the global corporate card and spend management platform. I've been with the company since 2019. And fun fact, I actually met my friend Michael over here that year when we first discussed potentially partnering Brex and Navan. We didn't end up partnering then, but 5 years later, here we are. So over to you, Michael.
Yeah, great to meet everyone and see everybody. My name's Michael Sindicic. I'm the CEO of Navan Expense. Navan as a whole is the global leader in enterprise travel and expense management. We were founded in 2015, and I've been with the company for almost 9 years now, since early in 2016. So really, really excited to dive into the solution we've been building for you today.
Perfect. So to start, I wanted to just take a little bit of time to say a little more about what Brex personally is seeing in our data. So as a reminder, Brex, the global corporate card and spend management solution, we serve around 20,000 companies from startups all the way up to the enterprise. And as companies have been scaling on Brex, what they've told us and what we're seeing through their card spend is that corporate travel and managing that travel is obviously critical to their success. And the truth is, companies today are building in very different ways than they did in the past. They have hybrid workforces, they have remote workforces, and they're hiring employees globally earlier in their life cycle. So business travel and managing business travel correctly is a much harder problem than before, especially in a post-COVID world where the age-old business rule of showing up in person matters. And so all of the companies that we're seeing need a trusted travel partner to deal with their employees and keep their travel organized and in policy. Next slide. But as we know, and as you all know, since you're on the webinar, global travel is not just about travel. It's also really about paying for that travel. Because if your travel management solution is clunky and outdated, then the way your employees will pay for their travel within that solution will also be clunky and outdated, and probably even more error prone because there'll be a compounding of inefficient, clunky systems. With global companies, you also have the need on the payment side or the spend side to enlist a bunch of card programs for all of your global entities. This was the only way to do that in the past. And then so you have a bunch of different card programs all over the world connected to an old school travel management systems. And then the two systems, the card systems and the travel systems, are not directly integrated. They're not speaking to each other. And so that is creating a litany of reconciliation challenges that are further compounded by the fact that there's a lot of non-USD spend. There's a lot of FX issues, and this is across thousands of flights and hundreds of employees, leading to a nightmare for month-end reconciliation. Over to you, Michael.
Cool. And so, we started approaching this problem early in 2019 as we scaled up into the enterprise as well. Today, we serve, tons of Fortune 500 companies all the way down to smaller startups and at a global scale. And what we started to see is there's really two ways that you can do reconciliation of travel inventories. And one option is you can make your employees do expense reports. So you're basically having all of the reconciliation challenges pushed to the employees and then spending, thousands of employee time and also chasing people for receipts and finishing their expense reports. But as we see a new wave of companies managing travel, they start to do things like put a central ghost card on file. And when you put a central ghost card on file or push, the reconciliation to the employees, what you see is an immense challenge, basically from a few reasons. So one is inventory providers need to be more and more global and more robust in order to support all the different sources. And so you might have Expedia inventory, you might have direct bookings from the GDS, you might have different car rental companies and different aggregators. And TMCs need to do this because probably the biggest complaint you'd hear from a traditional TMC is, oh, I found a cheaper rate outside the system, which kind of loses your credibility of managing travel and working on cost control and duty of care. Or even worse, the employee might say, I can see this booking outside the system and I can't even see it in our traditional TMC. So we need to support all these different types of inventory sources, but each inventory sources comes with nuances. One might be the merchant of record, for example. And so you start seeing this really deep challenge of matching what is actually on the credit card statement with what was actually booked. And a good example of that is right here. Let's say I see on my credit card statement Expedia, 13GHDT, and I need to understand and match that eventually to a Fairmont Dallas hotel that was for an SKO that our sales team had in the beginning of the year. And so you can start to see some of the challenges of playing this game of match. And I'm sure maybe a lot of you have felt this if you're managing travel today and trying to do central reconciliation. And if we go to the next slide, what we really dive into this problem a little deeper. If you look at a traditional credit card statement from a central ghost card you might put on the file on the program for your employees to use, you really see a couple details here on the upper right. And when you see that, you'll typically see a posting date. So that's when the card was actually settled. And then you'll see the transaction date when the card was charged. You see an amount, not sure which currency, but you'll see an amount there and you'll see what the actual merchant was. And like we just described, sometimes it might be an aggregator, sometimes it might be direct. But trying to match a booking off of these four details is incredibly complex and changes all the time. So for example, some vendors post the transaction later than after the checkout. So you can look at when the employee checked out of the hotel, but it might not actually match what the date was posted. And sometimes, the transaction actually will happen if you rent a car. That transaction will actually occur after you've returned the car. So again, it's all of these different dates trying to add up and match and make sense with each other is really, really difficult. The transaction amount will be, what the vendor decides to charge you, but you might have used a card in a different currency if somebody was traveling globally. So then you're not sure what the actual transaction rate was when you made that booking, depending on the day and the spot rate. And also, we described the challenges with the specific merchant. And so you can see how incredibly difficult this can be, where you have to match all of these things. And the reason why we typically reconcile, I probably don't need to tell you guys, but you want to make sure that you're getting the services that you've paid for. But another big reason, as people are traveling globally, is actually reclaiming VAT or GST. And you can recoup quite a lot of money by making sure that you're reclaiming these taxes for this type of travel. And when we think about reconciliation, it's really three main buckets. First is matching the booking transaction ID in the system with the transaction ID on the credit card statement. Then what we do is we enrich the data. We need to enrich it with different employee details, like who the employee was, their cost center, department, region, subsidiary, what project they were traveling for, et cetera. And then that last piece is getting that invoice so that you can reclaim the taxes and actually match the receipt to what was actually being spent. So that's a little bit of insight into why this process is actually so complex. And next, I'll pass it over to Art.
Yeah, so I think, Michael, the obvious follow-up is, okay, great, but why hasn't this issue been solved before? You just laid it out succinctly in two great slides over 4 minutes. Like, it's a very clear problem statement. And I think the answer is because, frankly, no providers have been able to successfully integrate across the two systems of global financial services and global corporate travel. If you're an enterprise company, the payment stack that you need and the travel management stack that you need are both hugely complex. And for the last 30 years, the incumbents in the space have been building up their separate solution in silos. And as I'm sure all of you know, trying to integrate with these big and slow incumbents and then having two big and slow incumbents try to integrate is always going to lead to a subpar experience. In the past, the best-in-class experience was taking a legacy corporate card and putting it on file in a legacy travel portal as a central ghost card. But as we've heard, these cards still didn't solve everything because you had to match the booking ID with the credit card number. You had to enrich the data with L2, L3 card data, which the legacy card providers weren't pulling, which still led to these massive reconciliation and reporting issues that will lead to hundreds of hours of reconciliation for you and your finance team. And so all of that was made even worse by FX and the global nature of some of these travel payments. And so basically what we did with BrexPay and Navan is kind of flip that on its head by starting with modern technology and an API first approach with one global card issuer and card provider program, Brex, to create a really amazing experience. And that required deep domain expertise from both of us. So over to you, Michael, to talk about the travel side of it.
Yeah, I think that there's so many different nuances that as a global provider that goes very, very deep on travel, we start to understand. And that's having access to extreme global inventory from all different types of sources around the world. We think that travelers and travel management for corporates is moving more and more online. People want to get things done by themselves. They don't want to sit on hold or email agents to make bookings when they can just do it themselves very quickly, like they would on a consumer site. We think we need deep, deep expertise in things like pricing changes. Pricing changes happen all the time, and it's not even just in between when you selected a booking to actually checked out, but even when you're on the road, taxes can change, resort fees can change. All of these different details are very, very in the weeds that you have to have deep expertise on in order to solve these challenges. Duty of care, right? Trying to understand exactly where all your travelers are, if they've been impacted by different weather events, or if there's other things going on in the world that you need to be aware of, and get your travelers safe and understand, that they're actually in a good place. And then lastly is 24/7, 365 support within a minute. So anytime someone needs to make a change or extend their hotel or something impacts their trip, they can actually reach us 24/7, 365 in order to get the support that they need. So that's kind of the deep expertise that Navan's been building on the travel side for the last 10 years or so. And I'll pass it to Brex or to Art to talk a little bit about Brex.
Amazing. And yeah, just from personal experience of using the tool, you guys definitely solve for these things in an amazing, delightful way. So from on the payment side, I think there's an equally challenging, though different set of problems that customers like you all want solved. So number one is credit terms. You want to make sure you have the right cash rebate, the right credit line, the right terms connected to the right entities. And that is a challenging problem for many other corporate card providers or modern day spend management providers. Then there's the underwriting and risk portion of it, where we are able to very quickly, within 24 hours, give you the credit line that you all want. The capital markets piece, in order to be able to give the rebates and the credit that you all want and deserve, we need to make sure that our systems are set up. We have the warehousing. We have a stable business that is allowing us to tap the capital markets. On the fraud prevention side, we want to protect you as your employees are flying all over the world, not only from true fraud, but what I would call fake fraud. One of the biggest problems we've solved at Brex is the global local card problem. And what that means is that if you travel to Malaysia with a US card, of course you can stay at a hotel, use it at a restaurant with a US issued card, and you probably won't have a problem. But if you have employees on the ground in Malaysia or the Philippines or another country that's a little more off the beaten path, and they try to go to the local bodega or the office supply store in that country, without a Brex card that has one local card program, they will get flagged for fraud, which will disrupt your business, which will lead to reconciliation issues at the end of the month. And all of these things, as we've discussed, compound. And then lastly, like on the travel side, you need 24/7, 365-day support within 1 minute. So Navan and Brex definitely agree on that side. Next slide. So with that, really wanted to chat a little bit more about BrexPay for Navan. This is our solution to all of the issues that we've been discussing. And with this new joint product that we co-created on site in joint offices over 6 months, you will now be able to easily manage your global travel at scale. You'll be able to allow your employees to book travel on Navan with a Brex card, simplifying in-policy spend, reducing costs, and enabling a travel program that is worthy for you and your enterprise and your employees, excuse me. As I already went into in detail a minute ago, you'll be able to spend globally with local cards in 50 plus countries with 40x higher limits and strong cashback rewards, and save on FX markups. And then lastly, and probably most importantly, you'll be able to save hours of time and probably save having to hire someone to deal with the 100% reconciliation, because Navan is actually generating a virtual Brex card for every single booking that automatically imports the physical card expenses and receipts for 100% payment reconciliation. Brex and Navan were the only card and travel provider that is doing this today. Over to you, Michael.
Yeah, I think you summarized it well. So really what the power of this partnership together is a 100% automated travel payments reconciliation. So anytime a customer is using both Navan for travel and BrexPay for Navan for their travel payments, we will actually generate a new virtual card for every new booking that occurs. And what that does is it allows us to perfectly reconcile that transaction in real time and follow the life cycle of that booking. So if anything changes, if your employees change their flight, if they extend their hotel or cancel their hotel, everything is right there tied to that specific card. And because we integrate API first across our two systems, all of that enrichment happens in real time. So whoever's making that booking, all of their cost center, department, all the details there match that specific booking ID and transaction ID. And you'll be able to see all of that reconciled in both Navan's travel platform and Brex's platform for payments. So with that, it's enough talking about it. We actually wanted to show you what it looks like, and I will pass it over to Nico and Dinesh to walk through it.
Hello, my name is Nico. Also welcome from my side. I'm excited to show you what we have built. So to get started with BrexPay for Navan, you need to log into your Navan account, manage or navigate over to the expense admin, company settings, card programs page. And here you can set up the integration. If you already have an existing program at Brex, you can start with add your card program. If you're actually new to Brex, you can click on set up a new Brex account. And even from here, you can go back into linking your existing one. To link your existing card program, all you have to do is log into your Brex account, and that's it. The connection is now set up between Navan and Brex. Now, how does that look for your employees? If they are now going to make a travel booking, they are searching for a flight on Navan, they're finding the one they want, and in the checkout process, they are now seeing a form of payment listed here as the Brex Central Travel card program, which, if I now check out as the employee, will create a new virtual card for this specific booking. As we heard earlier, has many advantages for reconciliation and security as well. And now handing it over to Dinesh to talk about and show you the reconciliation piece.
Thank you, Nico. Hey, everyone. My name is Dinesh. I lead product for Brex Embedded. So reconciliation, as you heard, significantly is the main problem that we're trying to solve and hit 100% reconciliation for all of your month-end close. With BrexPay, this is no longer an issue, and you can download all the information you need simply from Navan's dashboard. So go to your Navan expense admin, click Statements, and click on Navan Connect Report. Here, you'll be able to make sure that you select the same date range as your Brex card statement and select Brex as the card program. If you're using Brex and Navan for your global entities, you can select the legal entity that you're looking to reconcile at this time. Just click Download, and you'll get a fully reconciled report with all your transactions and Navan's booking data appended to it. Now, for the sake of this demo, let's actually get the same data from Brex to show you how they link up. In the Brex dashboard, you'll see the current balance and be able to manage billing settings. And if you click on credit, you'll be able to see all the individual statements you have for each of your entities. As Art was sharing, Brex supports local card programs in over 50 countries and over 30 currencies, allowing you to support global travel like you've never done before. So just click on the entity that you want to download the statement for, click download, and you'll get a full list of all your Navan travel transactions. Now, if we put these reports side by side and go to the last column in these reports, you'll see that Navan has a reporting transaction ID and the Brex statement has a card clearing ID, which align 1-to-1, allowing you to verify 100% reconciliation. Now, you don't have to actually do this. You can simply download the Navan Connect report and import that to your ERP as a CSV, or you can connect to Navan's accounting integrations to directly feed that data directly into your ERP. This is how using virtual cards with Brex and Navan can help you reach 100% reconciliation with no work at the end of month close. Back to you, Nico.
Thank you, Dinesh. Besides virtual cards, you maybe also have physical travel and expense Brex cards for your employees. You can also import those into Navan. You see a big button here to import for Navan expense. And once you agree that you want to import physical cards and the transactions into Navan, you see all the cards appearing in your Navan admin interface. You see that each card is assigned to the appropriate user we have on our platform. And as soon as the card is swiped, you will now see the transaction also appearing in Navan and compared to the Navan policy to, for example, be flagged if it's violating your policy or be automatically approved if everything looks right. And that's where we are right now, but we are improving the integration even further with more things to come, such as card management to automatically create new Brex cards if you have new users in the Navan ecosystem, as well as declining cards at the point of sale if the policy you set up in Navan requires or prevents certain transactions from going through. All that being integrated and manageable from Navan. That's it from the demo side. So let's get back into the deck and then back to you, Dinesh.
Yeah, so the reconciliation is just attaching all this information to all these transactions, and more importantly, making sure that the Brex and Navan joint product actually meets all your global travel needs. So, initially you're currently working with, basic travel data, just your date, amount, merchant, the information that Michael shared. But with this integration, you're going to be able to append all your accounting fields, your travel booking data, flight hotel information, and also get the power of Brex's global payments platform for your global limit, 50 plus countries and 30 plus currencies, billing in your local currency. So you do not have two numbers for every transaction with FX and have 100% reconciliation. We see this as kind of a slam dunk in terms of your corporate global travel program. I think it's back to Michael and Art.
Thanks, Dinesh and Nico. Great demo. Love to see how well and how smooth that the onboarding and the integration looked. So listen, we talked a lot about it and what we've built, but don't take it from us. Take it from customers that are already live and spending on BrexPay for Navan. These are a few of the customers using the product already: Robinhood, Anthropic, Service Titan. And I think the way that the users, right, the VP of Finance and Accounting, the Business Operation Director, are talking about the product is really inspiring for me and Michael and our teams, right? Scale is calling it the highest level of achievement in global integrated payments from someone, Josh Waldron, who has decades of experience in the space. He's seeing it as bringing two of the best of both worlds together. Chanda at Scene Health was literally wiping tears from her eyes when we told her about the product because she's so excited about the way that Brex Navan and her ERP Zero will now actually speak all together in the right way. This is obviously a great example of the 100% reconciliation that we are mentioning as the core value prop. So I think customers enterprise customers are very, very excited about the solution and are already using it. And the best part is there's more value to come than just what we demoed. And I'll let Michael talk a little about that.
Yeah, I just want to mention that this is the very beginning. So we have tons of new and more future enhancements on the roadmap. So as Nico talked about a little bit, you'll actually in the future be able to add the policies that you set in Navan onto the Brex cards. So if you issue a card for somebody and you don't want them spending, $10,000 when they're not traveling, or even, $200 when they're not traveling. But then all of a sudden, if their trip starts and you say, okay, it's okay for you to spend on Uber and Lyft and to spend a $75 a day per diem on your meals. All of that can be set up in your policy in Navan and enforced on the Brex cards to make sure that you're controlling your costs. And that's on physical cards as well. We'll also be building self-serve onboarding. So customers who use both products or want to use both products can easily sign up within seconds in our products. And then lastly, within the Navan app, you'll actually then be able to, if you're using us for travel and expense, you'll be able to automatically issue cards, Brex cards to your employees. So as an admin, you can say, okay, this is my group of travelers. I want them to have physical cards. I want this to be their policy when they're actually on a trip or off a trip. And all that will be available early next year. We're rushing to build as fast as we can because we see a lot of demand and a lot of excitement from our customers. So with that, next slide. So I think we have some time for Q&A. I believe we've been getting a few questions that we've been answering in the chats. But if people have any questions, we can open it up. And I think we maybe even got some before as well. So happy to answer whatever you guys have. I think there is one that I'm seeing as well. What are the benefits of BrexPay for Navan versus other central card solutions? Maybe I'll start. I don't know, Brex or Art, if you want to add anything, but I think what we talked about in the beginning is basically if I put a central card on file, or sometimes it's called a lodge card, there's different levels, right? So you can just put a random physical or virtual card in the product, and then that's where you get that insane challenge we talked about at the beginning, where you have basically those 4 data fields and you need to match it to the actual booking that happened, and you run into those challenges. There's also other card programs that have been set up from some of the banks where they're really central travel account cards or business travel account cards. And those are generally what we find are generally SFTP based or not real-time API based, and they vary country by country, the spec files that you need to set up. And so one of the big benefits that we have Navan working together with Brex is building everything with Navan API first. And so all of these things flow in real time, and we can update them, change them, correct them extremely quickly and not needing for daily types of settlements. Another piece is also Brex's huge advantage is being a central global card program. So it's not needing to set up country by country based on where people are traveling. It's one API that actually works around the globe, no matter what the currency is. And that helps deal with FX challenges and some of the other things that we talked about earlier. So I think those are 2 of the main advantages. And the other ones I would say is really just our intense customer focus, right? We're both very quick growth companies that are working very fast with our customers to build these types of solutions. And when we hear a complaint in the morning, we solve it by the afternoon. And I think that's been seen by our customers and is a big advantage of this partnership. I don't know, Art, if you have anything else to add or if I covered generally the landscape.
No, it's amazing to see a partner pitch BrexPay and specifically the card part of the solution so well. So if if you ever want a job at Brex, Michael, let me know because you're doing a better job than me on that. Okay, I'll take the next one. I'm a Brex customer. How can I get started? Perfect. So if you're a Brex customer and you'd like to get started, you can email me at arthur@brex. If you're also a Navan customer, then we'll help you get the integration done, within the next 72 hours. And if you're looking for if you're a Brex customer looking to sign up for Navan and then use the solution, that's even better. And we'll connect you to the team over there. As Michael and I mentioned, we have, joint connectivity of our sales and account management teams over Slack. We're responding within minutes to the very large influx of demand we're seeing on this. So very excited. So email me, arthur@brex.com, to get started.
Cool. I see another one. Now that Brex and Navan are partnered, can the reconciled transactions from Navan now be synced into Oracle Fusion ERP through a native integration? We typically, when we integrate our customers into Oracle, we have an open API for our ERP integrations into the Fusion system. So we integrate directly embedded with APIs into NetSuite and QBO and some of the others, Xero, I believe, as well. When it comes to Oracle or SAP for HANA or some of the more robust systems for more larger enterprises, we found the best approach is to actually build off of our APIs to directly integrate, because usually a global system using a customer using a system like that will need quite a lot of customization. And we'll typically assign a project manager and a PM to it with an engineering help to partner with our customers to integrate that directly. So if you have questions about that, happy to take them. My email is just michael@navan.com. Art, I don't know if you have any comments around the Brex integration into Oracle Fusion, or if you would do something similar.
No, we would do something similar. We have a Brex integration with Oracle Fusion, of course, and so yeah, I think would echo what you mentioned.
Great. For hotels, how are we communicating authorization for card not present transactions? I saw Nico is actually typing that answer, but one of the things that we do is we want to, anytime an employee makes a booking, the idea is for them to show up at the hotel and not need to present their card, personal card especially, to pay for the hotel, because it should all be settled and paid for centrally if you have that as a central card option. So one of the things that we do is we send a credit card authorization. We've got millions and millions of hotels and relationships with each of them, and we work with them to understand what's the best way to send the authorization to the hotel, so that when the traveler shows up, that's already paid for and they only need to put a card for incidentals. And that's a setting that you can configure in your Navan product. The European hotels or overseas hotels are very, very good at CCA acceptance. US hotels, it's a little bit more rare that they'll receive the CCA and then do the process to upload it. And so what we've done is in the Navan app, we also show the traveler what the card was that was sent to the hotel via CCA. And when they're at the desk, they can actually forward that card to the email or the fax number of the hotel. Or of course, they can pull out their Brex card as well to cover that cost. So we're always sending the CCA, and the goal is to actually not have the traveler need to pay for that. And even as a fallback, if the hotel hasn't uploaded it, they can see the card in the app there and send it again.
Cool. So then another question, are virtual cards created only when booking travel, or does this include using the physical card for items like lunch, gas, etc.? Are the physical card and virtual cards linked? So the answer to this is absolutely. They will be linked, or they are linked right now if you're a Brex customer and you're using BrexPay. And then if you're a Navan customer using just BrexPay for Navan, starting in January, as Michael mentioned, we'll be able to issue cards from within the Navan system. And so you'll be able to have even more connectivity between your Navan and Brex accounts. But yes, you only have one account when you are a Brex customer and a Navan customer using BrexPay for Navan. And so whether that's using it for gas, lunch, procurement spend for Brex, and then you're using BrexPay for Navan for your travel spend.
Great. I see one from Julia that's basically asking, if we make bookings in different currencies and the cards can be booked in different currencies, once they need to pay the invoice, does it need to be in US dollars? The answer to that is no. That's a big advantage with Brex having global banking and cards. And so Navan has local point of sales in more than 50 different countries around the world and tons of different currencies, which is really important to have licensed agencies in these different regions, because you need access to local inventory. If I search from the US for a flight from, let's say, Japan to India, I will probably get a much more expensive rate than if I was on a local Japanese point of sale searching from that same flight from Japan to India and back. And so we offer these local points of sales around the world as a global TMC. And then when you use Brex cards, you can set up so that you pay your local entity will pay for the bill for whoever you set up on those local cards with Brex. So it's a very, very large advantage. If you had to pay all of your bills in USD, let's say, the company would have to deal with tons of intercompany transfers, which is not an ideal state to pay off a statement. I saw a heart go up on the screen, so maybe people are excited about that answer.
Awesome. Well, I think that's all the time we have. So we will make sure to answer the rest of the questions. There's a few more, but we'll make sure to answer those offline. So don't worry, we will respond with that. That's a wrap. Thank you for taking the time to learn about our partnership. If you want to learn more, you can go to the links on the screen. You can email me or Michael. We're very excited about this. Very excited about the customers already using it, and really excited to talk to you all about what we've built and will continue to build here.
Yeah, I'll second that. Anyone who wants an in-depth demo or conversation with us to answer more of these questions, I see a few more are continuing to roll in. We will be very, very happy to take them and have these conversations. So feel free to reach out, and very excited to meet you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.